What's going on, everyone? Tim Williams here. Timmy Stacks in the building to break down today, Tuesday, August 10th, 15-game MLB slate over on DraftKings. If that sounds good to you, you're in luck. We're going to break it down one by one, each game here, over-unders, favorites, pitching, hitting, all of that good stuff. If that sounds good to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel below. I'll have a link right in the description. And yeah, let's just get right into it. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of baseball to cover here. So first game, 9 over under here. Cardinals taking on your Pittsburgh Pirates. Cardinals favorited here on the road. Hap taking on Brault. Hap 5.9K, 17% strikeout rate here. Does give up a decent amount of power to the right-handed bats. 271 ISO, two righties. Brault on the other side, 6.1K, 12.5% strikeout rate here, 53.8% ground ball rate, low fly ball guy. Not typically a guy I want to attack. I'm not saying go out and roster Brault. He's just, I think, a better real life pitcher than in fantasy, obviously. Cardinals, their offense doesn't wow me. I think they do have some power bats, so there is some value there. O'Neill, I like a lot at 3.5K. Arenado 5.4K is very interesting to me. I think he's going to go way low owned on a 15-game slate. So definitely interested there. I mean, you could talk about Goldschmidt, Edman. Yeah, I think they're, somewhat appealing, but I'm just looking for some one-off bats here against Brault. And then Hap, I think Hap kind of makes the player pool, right? As crazy as that sounds, 5.9K. He doesn't really have to put up a ton of points. 17% strikeout rate. It's not great, but it's there. The Pirates are so bad against left-handed pitching. They are dead last in home runs against lefties, 28th in OPS. They got way worse after the trade deadline. Hap's a veteran. I think Hap can get you there for that price. He only needs to put up 12, 15 points, right? What more do you need? If he does that, then he's looking good. So I have some interest in Hap for sure. Reynolds is a decent one-off. Moving on. Next game we have is the Dodgers taking on the Phillies, 8.5 over under. The Dodgers are favorited on the road. Scherzer taking on Nola. Nice little, pitching matchup here. Scherzer 11K, kind of pricey, but he's interesting. 35% strikeout rate here. He is giving up a decent amount of hard contact, 43% of the time, 48.5% fly ball rate. So, once in a while, he'll give up a couple home runs. That's okay because he does strike out a ton of guys. I think the Phillies have a decent amount of strikeouts in their lineup, giving up more power to right-handed batters. Next, we have Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies, 10.5K, 29% strikeout rate here. Tougher matchup, against the Dodgers. I'd rather, take Scherzer against the Phillies for sure. Gives up more power to left-handed batters. I am interested in maybe one of these one-off lefty bats for the Phillies. Bellinger, probably my favorite. He's probably going to be low owned. Last 2 games, he's been hitting much better. 44.4K. You're not really breaking the bank for that one. Seager, Muncy, I think are in play as well. Harper on the other side, 5.8K. Similar thing. Scherzer can give up home runs. I think Harper's going to go super low owned. Brad Miller, 3.5K. Nice little discount with some power upside there, but I have some interest in Scherzer. I don't think I'm going to get to Nola at that price point against the Dodgers, but Dodgers, Phillies have some interesting home run bats. Next game we have to talk about here is going to be the Tigers and the Orioles, 10.5 over under here. No favorite. Mize taking on Aiken. Mize 7.3K. I think is interesting. Has a decent, matchup against the Orioles. Near 20% strikeout rate, which I don't really love. 50% ground ball rate, which is kind of nice. 238 ISO, 2 left-handed batters. The Orioles don't really have a ton of left-handed bats. Righties against Orioles, I'm definitely, interested in. Aiken on the other side, 5.1K. It's cheap. 18% strikeout rate, 41% fly ball rate, which I don't really like. 197 ISO, 2 right-handed batters. I love the Tigers against lefties here. Sign me up. Timmy Stacks is all in on the Detroit Tigers. I think they're possibly one of my favorite stacks on this slate. I will say it, maybe top 3. I like Grossman. I like Cabrera. Goodrum should be in there. Scope at 4.7K, a lot of power upside. Haas 5.4K. I hope nobody plays this dude because of his price. Over 400 ISO against left-handed pitching. So I am all in on the Tigers today. Mullins on the other side for the Orioles, I don't mind as a one-off at 4.8K. Price is kind of creeping up. He's excellent. Profiles really well here against Mize. Mize can give up the home run. So Santander is interesting, 2.6K. I think he's a better player than that. Kind of profiles well here. Just a nice punt play. Next, we have the Nationals taking on the Mets, 8.5 over under here. Mets favorited at home. Espino taking on Carrasco. Espino 5.7K, 18% strikeout rate here. Nothing really too special. Giving up a lot of fly balls, 50% fly balls, 2 righties, 265 ISO, 2 right-handed batters. So interested in some righties on the Met for the Mets. Carrasco 8K here, making his 3rd start. I have minimal interest. The price is kind of high, right? It depends what his pitch count's going to be. He has been pitching well in those first 2 starts, 26.5% strikeout rate here, 50% ground ball rate. He's taking on a Nationals team that are just kind of just depleted at this point. So it really depends on his pitch count. I am interested in Carrasco though. Mets bats, Alonso by far the clear number 1. I think he's way too cheap. He's 1,000K too cheap. 4.2K here. Davis, I'm interested in 3.3K. I think he does have some upside here. Profiles well against Espino. Conforto would be the 3rd bat I'm into. 2.9K is just too cheap for his talent if you're trying to do like a little mini 3-man stack here. But Alonso, my clear number 1 in this game. Next, we have the Rays and the Red Sox. Patino taking on Rodriguez. Red Sox favorited at home. Nice little 10 over under here. Patino 8.3K. I think the price is too high. I'm out on him. Taking on the Red Sox is never really an easy, challenge. 25% strikeout rate, which is great. 53% fly ball rate. Don't love that in Boston. Rodriguez 9.3K. Kind of interesting here, right? He's taking on the Rays who do strike out a lot, and they are very bad against left-handed pitching. Rodriguez himself, he's giving up a 237 ISO 2 left-handed bats. So, however, Tampa Bay lefties do not hit lefties very well. However, the righties do hit lefties very well. Rodriguez decent against right-handed bats. So I think this is a high variance situation. If you have conviction on Rodriguez, play him. If you have conviction on the Rays, play them. I have interest in both for sure. Luplow 3.3K, probably leading off, hits lefties fairly well. Franco 4.8, hits lefties great. Cruz, same thing. Cruz way underpriced here, 4.8K. Zunino, you're looking for that home run. It's crazy what he can do against left-handed pitching at that price. 486 ISO versus lefties. So I'm in on some of these Rays bats. And then on the other side, I think the Red Sox are just priced up a little bit. I think they're in play, right? I think there's plenty of other, it's a 15-game slate, so there's tons of cheap bats here. You can make the Red Sox work, but Devers is my favorite, clear number 1, 5.9K here. Duran, Red Sox really been struggling. I think maybe being back at home, playing a nice division game here, might, put a little fire under them. So I think the Red Sox are in play, just a little bit too pricey. So I think you could go there. I think you can get there. Next, we have the A's taking on the Indians, 9.5 over under. Some possible weather concerns in this one. The A's are favored here, though. Manaea taking on McKenzie. Manaea 10K. I think the price is high. You might have to consider him, in the player pool. 26% strikeout rate here. The Indians they're a funny offense. They don't really strike out a ton. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think I'm going to be out on Manaea because of the price. McKenzie on the other side, 7.5K, 28% strikeout rate here. Just walks way too many guys, 14.5% walk rate here with a 48% fly ball rate, giving up a ton of power to right-handed batters. Even though he's not right-handed, I think Matt Olson is very much the top bat in this game at 5.2K. I have some interest in Marte at 5.3. He's been on fire lately. The A's are kind of intriguing, but the weather kind of scares me a little bit, so I'm going to have some caution here. Indians, I'm just not really interested in. They don't really, look too good in this matchup. Next, we have the Rays taking on the Braves, 9.5 over under here. Sonny Gray taking on Drew Smyly. Gray 10.3K. He has been pitching well, right? 29% strikeout rate, 8.8% walk rate, which I don't love. Does get a lot of ground balls here, near 50% of the time. Just I don't like the price. I don't like the matchup against the Braves. Smyly 6.9K, 20% strikeout rate here. Giving up a lot of fly balls 40% of the time. tons of power to lefties, 258 ISO versus left-handed batters, 199 ISO righties have against him. So that being said, I think the Reds are in a similar situation with the Red Sox where they're kind of priced up. However, they are on fire. If I'm looking for a cheap bat, Aquino hits lefties very well, 3.5K, hoping for that home run upside here. But as of right now, I don't have a lot of the Reds in my player pool, mainly because of ownership. It is a 15% or 15 game slate here. So guys like Castellanos should be lower owned here. So we'll have to look into that. But right now I'm kind of, I have some caution against the Reds. Braves, I'm more interested in here. Soler, 3.4K. I prefer Soler against lefties, but I think he has a lot of power upside at that price. Riley, Freeman, Albies, Duvall. They just have so much upside, right? I liked what they did, getting a lot of these guys into this organization, mainly Duvall and Soler. So I have interest in the Braves here tonight. Next, we have the Brewers Cubs, part 2 of a doubleheader. So I don't have a ton of interest here. It's only 7 games. Pitching stinks. Ashby stinks. Mills stinks. 6.6K should be in there. 24% fly ball rate for Mills. So because of that, I don't really want to attack him all that much. Yeah, it's just, part 2 of a doubleheader. Schwindel, 2K, maybe if you're just punting, looking for some home run upside. I think he hits lefties fairly well. Ashby had a really, really rough outing the last time out. So other than that, I think this game's more of a fade for me. Kind of just helps limit the player pool, kind of, takes it from 15 games to 14, if you know what I'm saying. Next, we have the Rockies taking on the Astros, 8.5 over under. Astros favored it here at home. You have Gray taking on Odorizzi. Gray 9.1K, just not interested in that price. Near 22% strikeout rate here. Walk rate's a little high for me, 53% ground ball rate. He's been pitching very well. He just has a really tough matchup against the Astros, simple as that. So I'm out on Gray. Odorizzi, 7.7K, 19% strikeout rate. He's been very hittable, giving up a ton of power. He's been very up and down. He's had some good games. He's had some really terrible games. Just a pitcher I can't trust, even against the Rockies on a 15 game slate. There's 30 pitchers in this contest. So I think I'm out on Odorizzi. He gives up a lot of fly balls here. I have some interest in maybe a one-off bat for the Rockies. They're so bad away from Coors, but Hilliard at 2.2K is my favorite one because of the price and the upside there. Crone at 4.1 as well. I think he's in the player pool, a lot of power. Astros, I don't think I'm going to full stack it. I think Gray's a pretty respectable pitcher. Alvarez at 4.7 is great. Tucker at 4K is great as well. McCormick 2.4. I think he has a lot of upside for the price. Next, we have the Yankees taking on the Royals, 10.5 over under. Yankees are favorited here on the road. Cortez taking on Lynch. Cortez, interesting play here, right? 27% strikeout rate, near 9% walk rate, which isn't great. 43% fly ball rate, really giving up a ton of power to left-handed batters, 244 ISO right there. Effective against the righties, except he does walk a lot of right-handed batters, 10% walk rate against the righties. I just think there's a lot of inconsistencies here. Cortez at 8.5K is it's not a good matchup. The Royals don't strike out a ton. I think I'm just out on Cortez, mainly on the price. Lynch, 6.6K, 16% strikeout rate here, 47% hard contact rate. A lot of contact to right-handed bats. Yankees have a lot of power on the right side of the plate. Stanton, Judge, Voit, I think they are the top 3. Higashioka, I don't mind. Even as a one-off, as a catcher, 3.3K is not going to break the bank. And then that being said, all that talk with Cortez, I'm honestly probably not going to play any Royals. The slate's too big. I got to cut some teams out. So I'm out on him unless I see like Cortez is going to be like 20-30% owned for some odd reason. Then I'll have some more interest in the Royals. But for right now, I'm out. Next, we have the White Sox taking on the Twins, 10 over under here. Keuchel taking on Jax. This is probably my favorite game of the slate by far. I really like both of these teams, more so on the White Sox side. High over under total. They are the favorites. Keuchel 8.7K, just not a ton of upside for DFS, right? Better real life pitcher. Does give up a ton of hard contact, but he does get a lot of ground balls, 56% ground ball rate here, near 15% strikeout rate there. So like not a ton of upside as far as Ks go. Jax on the other side, 5.4K. The White Sox are starting to get a lot of their guys back. They're kind of getting fully healthy. I really don't like this matchup for Jax at all. Doesn't even have a 14% strikeout rate here, 8% walk rate. Lots of fly balls here for Jax, giving up power to both sides of the plate. White Sox are right up there with the Tigers as far as, some of my main favorite stacks on the slate. Robert's back at 3.4K. That's too cheap. Goodwin, I think, is sneaky because he goes lower owned. He really looks good in this one at 3.4K. Jimenez, 4.4K, probably the highest upside on the slate at that price point. Abreu at 5.9. Moncada 4.9. I think there's a lot of pieces here. I mean, Anderson's in the mix. You got some other cheap guys on the White Sox. Take a look at their catcher spot, see who's starting there. I really like the White Sox here. To Twins, I think I'm going to be attacking for the rest of the season. The pitching is depleted, so very in on the White Sox. And then on the other side, the Twins, Keuchel isn't, some ace that they're throwing out there. I don't like to attack him, but I do have interest because of the prices. Polanco at 3.4, Sano at 3.4. Nobody's going to be playing him. Donaldson 4.1, Garver. All these guys have huge power upside. So I love them as one-offs. I don't mind them as a three stack here, but this is probably my favorite game on this slate by far. Next, we have the Diamondbacks and the Giants, 7.5 over under here. Giants are favorited here. Gallen taking on Wood. Gallen 7.1K. I think he's going to make my player pool. I think he has the most upside in that 7K range by far. He's what, 1,500 cheaper than, or 1,400 cheaper than Cortez. Much rather take Gallen. I think he has a higher floor. 28% strikeout rate here. Yes, he has been shaky with the command, 11% walk rate here. That is something to monitor. 45% ground ball rate here, though. 0.90 ISO to left-handed batters. He's really been effective against the lefties. Giants chock full of lefties here. So I like Gallen. I like the ballpark. Same thing on the other side, Wood. He's been struggling the last few games here. I don't like Wood's price point at 9.8K, but if I get him in the lineup, I'm not going to be too upset. I do think, however, the upside is limited, but he is facing the Diamondbacks, so that's a good look for him. 25% strikeout rate here, 8% walk rate, 52% ground ball rate here. So does get those grounders. He really limits the power. Because of that, I'm kind of out on the Diamondbacks here. Cut them out of there. Giants, Posey is a good one-off for me. I'll definitely include him in my pool. I think this is another high variance situation. It's either going to be the Giants bats or it's going to be Zach Gallen. So I have interest in both, leaning more on Gallen as of right now, because I think I'm going to need some upside pitching to kind of round out, my stacks. Remember, you're building lineups. You're not just picking players here. So whatever fits your build, go with it. Before I get into this next one, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below. I'd love to just chit chat about baseball. So next we have the Blue Jays taking on the Angels, 7.5 over under here, real low total here. Stripling taking on Suarez. Really interested in the Blue Jays bats here. I think going forward, I think the Blue Jays are always going to be in play. Angels bullpen, one of the worst bullpens in the league. But we'll start with the starting pitching here. Stripling 9.5K, 23% strikeout rate here. Just really priced up. Mainly it's because of the matchup, right? The Angels are just depleted with injuries. 43% fly ball rate for Stripling, does give up a lot of hard contact. So Stripling's kind of a 50-50 guy for me. I think the price is kind of wild, but maybe he goes under owned. If he does, then he makes the player pool. Suarez at 7.8K. I don't think he's a bad pitcher by any means. He's just got a really tough matchup here. 54% ground ball rate, 20%, 21% strikeout rate here. Walks a lot of guys. Hard hit contact is up at 46%. So I'm in on the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are wildly underpriced here. I think DraftKings is like daring you to play the Blue Jays, and they in that case they might be super chalky. So we'll have to see, but make no mistake about it, the Blue Jays are one of the most top offenses on this slate. So Timmy Stacks is all in here. Springer at 4.6. Guerrero 5.3. Bichette is day to day. If he's out of the lineup, even better. Takes out another 5K bat. There's plenty of options for the Blue Jays to get in here. So it makes lineup building a little bit easier. Semien at 4.4K. He doesn't deserve that low price. Hernandez, I love him against lefties at 3.9. I love Grichuk against lefties here at 3.4. Maybe Hernandez and Grichuk go a little bit lower owned. So Grichuk probably the sneakiest bat for the Blue Jays today. Ohtani on the other side, I always have interest in. He's kind of, slowed down a little bit here, but Stripling just gives up a ton of fly balls and hard contact. So Ohtani looks decent here. Next, we have the Marlins and the Padres. Second to last game here, 8.5 over under. Braxton Garrett looks like he is going to start this one. It looks like originally it was going to be Rogers, but Garrett looks like he's on the mound at 6.9K. Nice. Padres on the other side, it looks like it's going to be a bullpen game. Stammen, pretty good bullpen arm. Knur at 4K flat min. Being that it's a bullpen game, I don't have interest in rostering any of the Padres pitchers. I don't have any interest in the Marlins bats either. Padres have one of the best bullpens in the league. Garrett on the other side, like 21% strikeout rate here, 11% walk rate. I think it's a tougher matchup. If this was earlier in the season, I think I would have some interest in Garrett. Padres just were horrible against left-handed pitching. Last 30 days, last 15 days, they look really good against lefties here. I think they might go under owned. We shall see. But Frazier, Pham, Machado, Nola, Cronenworth, Marisnick against lefties, I really like a lot at 3.2K. I have interest in the Padres for sure. They're not my favorite stack. I'm not going to go out of my way to play them. But I think if I'm building multiple lineups, I definitely have interest in the Padres. Final game here to talk about. Final one out of 15. Thank you so much for watching. 7.5 over under here. Mariners are favored at home. Allard taking on Gilbert. Allard 6.4K, 21% strikeout rate here, 41% hard contact, 236 ISO, two left-handed batters. Gilbert on the other side, 9.6K. I think the price is kind of high on him. Been struggling the last couple of days, but he does have a ton of talent facing a Rangers team that it already was bad to begin with. They just got worse after the trade deadline. 28% strikeout rate here. However, what kind of scares me a little bit, he's kind of like a young Ross Stripling or something like that with a little bit more strikeout upside. 42% fly ball rate, 45% hard hit contact given up, 171 ISO to righties here. The problem is the Rangers are just a terrible offense. I do have a lot of interest in Garcia at 3K. It would be a really nice piece to just have as like a late night hammer. Hope he just hits one out against Gilbert. I think Gilbert's a good play here too, honestly. And then Mariners bats, I have some interest in, mainly in Kyle Seager at 4.5K against Allard. Haniger as well, 4.9, I think lines up really well against Allard. And then France would be the third bat I'd be interested in. I don't love the price, but it's not horrible either if you're trying to, correlate some bats here as like a little three-man stack. So that'll do it. My name's Tim Williams. Thank you for watching. Good luck tonight in your contest. Until the next time, make sure you hit that notification bell to kind of remind you when I'll have a video coming out. So that's it. Take it easy. Peace. Good luck tonight.